on Daily Consciousness and Gratefulness, Purpose, Meaning, and Becoming a Great Creator. Intro. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to this perspective on the topic of how we can become more conscious and grateful every day, in finding and working towards the purpose to maximize our combined creative potential as life forms together, in order to make our life as meaningful as possible, by becoming a great creator. This particular perspective will contain a summary of the story and path we all can take towards finding purpose and meaning in our life, a path where we're aiming to become the best version of ourselves, through maximizing not only our own creative potential, but also all of our combined creative potential as human beings, and as all our fellow life forms, together. And to therefore leave a better world behind for all fellow life to build upon. For example, because of the contributions we have made to the health of our environment, the knowledge we have gained and saved for fellow human beings to learn from and build upon, and the things we have done that inspired other fellow people to do the same, maximize their own skills and knowledge, and to build upon these achievements, after our inevitable death. And so that in this sense, our creative energy can still live on, long after we've left this world, to forever be able to impact the world for the better. And so our life will therefore have had plenty of meaning. And through this path, we can then also become much more conscious and grateful every day for being given the most incredible gift of life, which can then greatly help us to become more motivated every day to grow, improve, and maximize all our combined creative potential as life together. A path which can then eventually help us to discover, nurture and unlock the unlimited godly creative energy that is inside each and every one of us. And to therefore become much closer to the great creators, and godly happy creative beings that we were always meant to be. I sincerely hope this story can help you on your own journey towards finding purpose and meaning. Chapter 1 out of 2, on the purpose and meaning of life, maximizing our combined creative potential, as part of the universe's creative energy. Part 1 out of 4, finding an explanation for life and its primary actions, in order to find its purpose, creative energy which aims to maximize its creative capabilities. The first step we can take towards finding our purpose in life, is to analyze life itself, and all of its actions over its billions of years of existence, in order to find a primary fundamental purpose that can explain how it has become all the complex life that we see today. Which is the same method we can use to find the primary purposes of life forms, including those of our fellow human beings. We can, for example, find the primary purpose of someone like Roger Federer in becoming the best tennis player he could be, by simply analyzing all his actions over his lifetime. And then finding primarily actions like his intense training, fierce motivation, and participation in the biggest tennis competitions. From which we can then conclude that his primary purpose must have been to become the best tennis player he could be. And in the same way, we can then also look to find life's primary purpose, by also simply analyzing all of its primary actions, and then finding an explanation for them. Including its growth into all the complex and uniquely capable life forms we see today. And one way to explain all the primary actions of life, is that there is some creative energy in this universe, an energy which was able to somehow create something out of nothing during the Big Bang, and which is always aiming to further maximize what it can do, physically, mentally, and creatively. And that in doing this, this energy was then also able to somehow create the first, single-celled, life. From which it was then also able to further grow, evolve, and improve itself over billions of years, to eventually create all of the incredibly complex, fascinating, and uniquely capable of life forms we see today. Including us human beings, the species with the most amazing, creative capabilities so far. Part 2 out of 4, our childlike instinct to maximize our own capabilities being linked to our childlike happiness, and then consciously aiming to do the same, to recreate this happiness. And if the goal, purpose, and instinct of life is to maximize its physical, mental, and creative capabilities, this can then also explain why virtually all of us as children had an instinctive curiosity, along with experiences of inspiration to learn, grow, and become the best we can be. And this presumed purpose can then also explain why most of us can look back at our childhood as being the happiest time in our life, a time where we instinctively knew, and did, what we were born to do, maximizing what we can do, and what we can create. And then, we can also think about how we can not only maximize our capabilities instinctively, but also consciously. For example, by first consciously identifying new situations in which to become skilled, along with creating the specific goals and personal strategies to achieve them. And by then looking to improve these as much as possible, by actively looking for new perspectives, trying out new strategies, and learning what did, and did not work in becoming more capable. And then testing these strategies over and over again, in order to learn, improve, and actively evolve as much as possible. In order to maximize our own capabilities, and therefore become closer to feeling our childlike happiness, once again. Part 3 out of 4, consciously working to maximize our combined creative potential as all life forms together. Our simple purpose in life, And then, we can also eventually realize that in order to maximize our own capabilities and bring out the best in ourselves, we also need to help bring out the best in our fellow human beings as well, in order for them to be able to help us to go to the next level. And we can help them, for example, by showing them our new skills and new knowledge, so that they can feel inspired to also learn and improve their own unique skills and knowledge. And then, once they feel inspired, we can help them further by then also always offering to share our own experiences, including the experiences on how we can get as healthy as possible, and function optimally. And finally, and especially, we can also help our fellow human beings by always offering our full unconditional support to them in helping to achieve their goals. An unconditional support that allows them to make their own choices, and to then take their own responsibility, for them to have their own successes, and their own failures. But where we will then also always be there for them, should they ever want to seek our help, And in doing so, we're not only maximizing the creative energy inside ourselves, but also that same creative energy in other fellow human beings, and fellow life forms, the same creative energy from which we were all born, a thought through which we can also wonder if this might be a connection between all of us as life forms. And then, we can also notice that when we help other people and other life forms this way, and when they help us, we can all feel a natural desire to help each other in turn. An instinct which science has called the law of reciprocity, and which we can regard as further evidence for our purpose being related to maximizing all our combined capabilities as life forms. And through this purpose and instinct of life, we can realize that when we help our fellow life forms, they can instinctively help us in return. Which means that we can then also better help them, and they can then help us again, and so forth. In a positive cycle where we all as life forms can collectively and instinctively help each other to maximize all of our combined capabilities as life forms, together. And after thinking about all of this, we can conclude that consciously following these, childlike, instincts might also be our own, simple, purpose in life as well, to always, in every moment, as long as there's still life left in us, simply do our best to maximize what we ourselves and all as life together are capable of, physically, mentally, and creatively. In other words, to maximize our combined creative potential, Part 4 out of 4, result, our meaning, leaving a better world behind for other fellow life forms to build upon, so that our creative energy can live on, through them, and then regaining a childlike happiness. And by then deciding to follow this instinct and purpose of life, we then also automatically ensure that the knowledge we have gained, physical creations we have made, and the experiences we have shared and taught, can help and inspire the next generation to build upon this potential that we've left behind, after our inevitable death. Which means that even after our body's physical and mental energy has run out, our creative energy can still live on, to forever impact the world for the better. Which means that following this simple purpose of this creative energy, guarantees that our life will also have had, plenty of, meaning. And as a result of which, we can then feel a childlike level of happiness, once again. And forevermore. Chapter 2 out of 2, on God, energy which aims to maximize our combined creative potential, and which is guiding us through our body's messages, to also become a great creator, the God of all life, goal, #. Part 1 out of 7. The creative energy that created all life, including our own incredibly creative human bodies, being a God, the God of all life, goal. And when we then look for ways on how we can maximize our own and combined creative potential, we can then once again look and marvel at all the amazing life forms around us for inspiration for our own creative ideas, including in engineering and design. Such as the wings of an owl for designing airplane wings, the down feather insulation of birds for making warm clothes, and the kingfisher's beak for designing a train that makes the least amount of noise when piercing the air. And we can then also look at how in nature all life can instinctively live in balance with each other, by perhaps instinctively helping one another to maximize their combined creative potential. For example, and in particular, the relationship between fruit trees and frugivores, where the tree produces the perfect food for the frugivores to eat, and where the frugivores in turn can help the fruit tree to spread its seeds. And we can then also marvel at the incredibly complex, fascinating, and nearly incomprehensible design of our own natural human bodies, and the magic of how they work, and what they can do. Such as their ability to talk, see all the amazing colors, and being able to think, imagine, and work on amazing new creations. And we can then wonder whether our body's signals could be messages that are also connected to maximizing our own creative potential, and our combined creative potential. Such as pain and fatigue, in order to better understand when to rest, and stop exercising. Pleasure and happiness, for choosing the right thing to do, and for finding purpose and meaning. And also, and especially, emotions such as sadness, which we can then turn into incredibly powerful motivation. Such as the disappointment, anger, and even depression we can feel whenever we failed a test, lost a sports match, or when the love of our life wants to break up with us. But where we can then decide to take responsibility, and to redeem ourselves by now aiming to study better, train harder, and become a better partner. And also, when confronted with the immense sadness we can experience when a loved one has been diagnosed with a terminal illness, we can then turn this sadness into even more incredible motivation to figure out how to prevent this disease from ever happening to anyone else ever again. And at the same time, come to the realization that in order to maximize all of our combined creative potential, we first need to become as healthy as possible. And that we therefore need to look for, and be open to, as many new perspectives on health as we can. Which can all indicate to us that our human bodies have the incredible creative ability to turn any situation, no matter how horrible it may seem at first, into an opportunity for growth. And after having considered all of this, we can simply, and humbly, conclude that this creative energy that created all of these amazing life forms, including our own incredible creative human bodies, is simply something divine, and can therefore very much deserve to be called a God. A God in the form of creative energy that is inside all life forms, and which can therefore also be called the God of all life, goal. A God which speaks to us through our bodies as its temple, helping and guiding all of us human beings on how to maximize our own, and our combined, and God-given, creative potential. And become a great creator, just like the goal itself. Part 2 out of 7, Birth Miracle, chosen by the God of all life as a partner to maximize all of its creative potential in all its life forms, as fellow children of the goal. And along with the fact that the chances of us being born are astronomically small, with a chance of approximately 1 in 400 quadrillion, raised to the 150,000th power, we can describe our birth, and our life as a whole, as simply miraculous. A fact through which we can even interpret our own miracle birth as each and every one of us having been chosen by the God of all life as a partner in its quest to maximize all of its creative capabilities, in all its species of life. And after which we can then regard all other life forms as fellow children, and siblings, of the goal, all created to play their own unique role in the optimal functioning of our ecosystem, and to therefore maximize all of our combined creative potential as life together. And then we can realize that by maximizing our combined creative potential in every moment, we then serve the God of all life in every moment as well, and show our gratefulness to the goal for having given us this incredible gift of life. And through interpreting our body's messages every day as well as we can, and trusting them to know best, we can then also show our humility, faith, and trust in the goal to guide us towards becoming the best version of ourselves, by listening to the bodies it has created for us. Part 3 out of 7. In response to all our body's symptoms, working together with them in unison to solve the underlying problems they've identified, uniting. And then, in our quest to maximize our health, we can come across stories, videos, and testimonials about the incredible physical and mental healing power of our bodies when fasting. And especially our body's incredible healing power when water-only fasting for 21 days or longer in response to intense symptoms like fatigue, after eating only fruit. A process with the idea of, instead of suppressing these symptoms by eating, to then trust them instead, by resting completely, and therefore giving our bodies the best opportunity to solve the problems that they have identified, and which are underlying the symptoms. Along with sipping at least 4 liters of water per day, with a maximum of half a liter per hour, in order to meet our body's water needs. With 21 days being the minimum to already see amazing results, including feeling much more physical, mental, and creative energy, and being able to meet all our body's dietary needs on a diet only consisting of the beautiful, perfect, and delicious fruits of nature. A process where afterwards, people were looking, feeling, and functioning so much better than ever before, both physically and mentally, as well as creatively. And where their bodies could even heal conditions that medicine said were impossible to heal, such as Crohn's disease, multiple sclerosis, and even, stage 4, cancer. Which can indicate to us that miracles like these are all possible for all of us when we simply trust our godly bodies when we experience their symptoms, and then uniting with them by giving them all the time, energy, and opportunity to work their godly physical, mental, and creative healing powers, developed over billions of years, of godly growth. And when we then decide to try this out and trust all of these godly symptoms ourselves, we can then feel relaxed, at peace, and filled with happiness, by simply lying down in the corpse pose, focusing on, and uniting with the symptoms, sipping the necessary water, and all the while trusting our incredible bodies, and the God of all life, to take the best care of us. A process we can call uniting, because we are aiming to unite with all our incredible body's messages, including its physical and mental symptoms, by working together to provide the most energy for our bodies, and the God of all life, to solve the underlying problems. Until these symptoms have disappeared, due to our bodies having solved them naturally. And after having seen all of these miracles, and having thought about our body's godly design, along with having felt their godly healing potential ourselves through the corpse pose, we can conclude that, in order to become as healthy as possible, function optimally, and to maximize our combined creative potential, we first need to simply unite with all of these physical and mental symptoms that our bodies can give us, and to trust in the divine creative energy inside of them, for at least 21 days. Part 4 out of 7, ourselves uniting for 21 days, and experiencing unconditional love from our bodies in functioning optimally, and to fulfill our purpose. And on day 7, experiencing incredible mental clarity, creativity, and strong connections to all life. And when we then decide to unite for 21 days or longer, with experienced guidance, combined with this knowledge of the goal, we can then experience the most incredible healing we have ever felt, physically, mentally, and especially creatively. Which we can then experience as true unconditional love from our bodies in functioning optimally ourselves, and in fulfilling our purpose to maximize our combined creative potential. And then, on the 7th day, we can wake up with a level of mental clarity and creativity we have never felt before, along with an incredibly strong connection to every living being. Combined with feeling a virtually godly level of peace, gratefulness, and happiness for simply being given this incredible gift of life, and to discover what we ourselves and all of us as life forms together are capable of, as fellow children of the God of all life. Similar to the instinctive and sometimes incomprehensible happiness that we were all born with as children. Part 5 out of 7, finishing the uniting process, and for this servitude, being godly rewarded, with godly fruitful pleasures, and continued godly happiness, And after finishing a uniting process of 21 days or longer, depending on the conditions we want our godly bodies to heal, and then refeeding very slowly on just fruit, we can then eventually feel a childlike level of physical energy once again, along with a taste of new godly delicious flavors of fruit that we were never able to taste before. From which we can conclude that fruit is simply a godly reward for our servitude to the God of all life, by eating in order to not only function optimally ourselves, and experience a godly taste, but also to help the fruiting plants to spread their seeds, and at the same time respect all the other godly life forms as fellow children of the goal, and to therefore maintain the goal's godly natural balance. And after realizing all of this, we can then conclude that by simply trusting the God of all life in this way, and then aiming to follow our godly purpose to maximize all our combined creative potential, we will then be rewarded for our servitude with the greatest of the goal's natural, bountiful, and fruitful pleasures, along with optimal health and functioning, and combined with feelings of virtually eternal love, peace, and happiness. Part 6 out of 7, realizing that the God of all life, through the bodies it had created for us, has true unconditional love for us to redeem ourselves, no matter the mistakes we may have made, including the most heinous of crimes, and the most cardinal of sins, And after experiencing all this incredible growth through uniting, and realizing that our bodies are able to heal and recover from pretty much anything, no matter how much abuse we may have done to them in the past, we can conclude that our bodies have complete unconditional love for us in functioning optimally, by being completely all-forgiving, in helping us to fulfill our purpose. Which would mean that the God of all life, through the bodies it has created for us, also has complete unconditional love for us, as well. Which can then also lead us to conclude that, as long as the goal still keeps us alive with its life energy, it still believes in us, and our ability to redeem ourselves, by now deciding to use our God-given creativity to learn from the experience, and become a much better version of ourselves, no matter what kind of mistakes we may have made in the past, including the most heinous of crimes, and the most cardinal of sins. And when considering all this unconditional love from the God of all life, this can then also help explain why we instinctively all experienced so much happiness as children, because we instinctively knew that the God of all life will always do its best to care for us in every possible way, including physically, through our body's healing ability, mentally, through our brain's problem-solving ability, and creatively, through our instinct to help create the same growth in other people and other life forms, by offering our own unconditional love, in helping them to maximize their own unique and God-given creative potential, and to take our place as the goal's partner in its quest to maximize its creative capabilities, on Earth, and elsewhere. Part 7 out of 7, the God of all life being inside all of us in every moment, and being our best friend. Always and always. Together forever. Forever and ever, And because this godly creative energy is inside all of us human beings in every moment of our life, protecting, helping, and guiding us to become the best we can be, this also means that this God in the form of creative energy is truly always with us. Not only in the happiest of times, but also, and especially, in the most challenging of times, necessary for our own godly growth. Times through which the God of all life will always be with us, and be our best friend. Always and always. Together forever. Forever and ever,